OpenRTB 2.6 is a communication protocol that defines standards all the way through the supply chain, from the media owner all the way through to the exchanges, to intermediaries, and all the way to the marketer. Index worked last year with IAB Tech Lab to release an updated version of OpenRTB 2.6. The previous one was released 6 years ago. And so you can imagine that that was really built primarily for display media and didn't take into account any of the intricacies or nuances of streaming TV. So it was a very welcome update to that protocol, and will really ultimately allow us to scale streaming TV. In terms of sustainability, it is actually going to help with sustainability as well, because of the efficiency that it provides in the way that we're signaling. And so an example of that, we actually just released a case study in combination with Publica and the Trade Desk, and it was measured by Scope 3. And we implemented a specific feature within OpenRTB 2.6 that we're very excited about, ad podding, and it resulted in an 84% reduction in carbon emissions.
So you mentioned ad podding and pod bidding as a breakthrough feature. Can you talk a little bit about how that kind of works and contributes to efficiency overall, but also kind of sustainability?
So ad podding is the break between content and streaming TV. It's similar to the commercial break in linear TV. And historically, ad podding and the way that that was constructed was extremely manual. You would have, let's say, a 90-second break, ad pod break, and each one of those ads was sent as a separate request without a lot of context for taking into the entire ad pod into account. And so with the updates to ad podding, it now does take the entire ad pod into account, and a media owner can send a single request out for the entire ad pod. What that does for the media owner side is it allows them to effectively, efficiently have control over the construction of that ad pod, how much duration each one of the ads gets. And then on the buyer side, there's a lot more transparency into what you're buying. Ultimately, I think one of the biggest advantages of ad podding is really to the viewer experience. If you think about your experience watching streaming TV, which everyone has one, so many viewers are frustrated by the number of duplicative ads. And it's a result of the old standards and the lack of protocols that were in place taking into account streaming TV. And so they had no idea that the same brand was buying into the same ad space in the ad break. The other thing is competitive separation. There was no way for a media owner or a brand to understand where and who they show up next to from a brand perspective within the same ad break. And so ad podding is just really taking us a huge leap forward in streaming TV from a viewer perspective, but also benefits to the media owner as well as to the marketer.
Yeah, it's amazing that that standard had not been updated in 6 years, because it seems like there's actually quite a bit of improvement.
Of course, yeah.
You know, maybe one more question, and that is, you know, in the realm of sustainability and sort of helping our industry be greener, can you talk a little bit about Index's plans for the future in terms of these initiatives?
Of course. So when we think holistically about sustainability at Index, we broke it down and organized it into 5 sections. We think about our data centers. We own all of our own data centers, which is a huge opportunity to make sure they are the most efficient possible. The second area is in our product and technology. The third is around collaboration with the industry. And so we, again, are working really closely with IAB Tech Lab and really IAB organizations globally with AdNet Zero to determine how the industry moves forward, defines measurement and standardization around sustainable initiatives within ad tech. And then the fourth is around our operations, and the fifth is employee support. So we think about sustainability pretty holistically at Index. From an ad tech perspective, we're very excited again about OpenRTB 2.6, because while it's more control and efficiency for media owners and for buyers, it's a ton less waste. And so if you think about previously, if you had an ad break and you were sending out 7 signals for one ad break, an ad pod, now we're sending out 1 signal. The amount of reduction in CPU is massive. And not only is that more efficient, but we're also seeing that revenue is sustained, and we believe that revenue will increase over time. And so that's something that we've just launched. Again, that study was our first test with all of the partners. And then I think, just generally speaking, our vision is total market efficiency. We are obsessed with optimizing our exchange on a daily basis. An example, we just launched a performance-wide update to our exchange nodes yesterday, and it's given us 20 to 30% reduction in CPU overall. And it's sort of an obsessive optimization that Index does every day through our teams, and machine learning is definitely a critical component to that.